Saturday, September the 2nd already. I'm doing free walk 229 here from the hotbed just outside Luton of Leagrave to Harlington, where I've parked up today. It's a 14 miler, cracking day today, a bit cloudy, occasionally we lose the sun, but otherwise very nice walking day, very autumnal. As I say, 14 miles, I expect to be done by about 7. It's 12:30 now, quite late start. No worries though, sunset's not until about 7:45, so got a bit of leeway, if you excuse the pun. So let's get cracking, see what awaits us. Now entering Limbury Meads, I decided not to take the detour off to look at the River Lee wellhead, 500 metres there and back, simply because I know this area too well, and it's close to Marsh Farm, which is not the most salubrious part of the world, believe you me. If you think Grenfell Tower's an issue, Marsh Farm makes it look tame. So here we have the River Lee on my right, which is London's second river after the Thames. Here in its infancy, runs down through Hertfordshire, provides good watercress beds, if I remember correctly, down towards Whitwell, for crossing the county and onto Lee Valley Park. Like I say, this is not the most pleasant of areas. People walk around with pit bulls and Argentine dogs for fun here, so I want to press on and get out of this area ASAP, especially with a camera in my hand. Now, we've seen these National Cycle Network finger posts in the past. This one indicating 4 miles to Houghton Regis, 6 mile to Dunstable, 3 mile to Luton town centre. Luckily Luton are playing away to Lincoln today. I checked that in advance just to make sure I wouldn't encounter any crowds on the train. Newly promoted Lincoln, that is. Should be an interesting battle. I predict a draw. In mileage marker there. Not sure if it's a half mile or 2 miles because it's so eroded, or where it's going to. Now starting to deviate away from the River Lee towards football pitches beyond the horizon here. Looking back across the playing fields, and you can see the edge of the Chiltern Hills there in the distance. Just about to ascend Gooseberry Hill. The road, not a physical feature. Okay, we've now left the urban stretch behind us, hopefully. Well, in fact, I know we have. And we're now entering Galley and Warden Hills. Information about which is on the walk notes. Interesting wooden carving there of the area. That's good to know. No cattle on either hill at the moment. Brilliant. What else we got going on? Nothing at the minute, because today's only 2nd of September. But as you can see, we've now got classic sort of Chiltern scenery developing. And if I remember correctly, Warden Hill, the top of it, is in fact the highest point east of the Chilterns. I believe that's right. Wonderful sight there. He's gone, has he? The old kite. Fairly blasé about them in these local parts because they're so common. Anyway, this is the false top of Warden Hill. Got some great views coming round from whence I've come. So over there is northeast. Closing in on the Marsh Farm estate with its towers. A mate of mine was brought up there. Hated the place. That was back in the 70s and 80s when it was notorious. And as I say, this is the hotbed that is Luton. Which now has the worst airport in the country for customer satisfaction, apparently. And the airport's over there on the left, almost in Hertfordshire now. It's being expanded as I speak. On the Chiltern Way. Don't think I got a shot of the Lee Valley marker, did I? Some kind of TV mast, I believe, on the very horizon in the middle of Luton. Good. Leave Luton behind us now. Interesting, I can't focus on the bird on top of the trig point. Possibly a stone chat or something of the ilk. Obvious place for him to be. Anyway, that's the 195 metre trig point, the true top of this hill. And as I say, 6 metres higher than Telegraph Hill over at Hexton, which makes it the highest point east of Luton, I believe. Amazing what happens in a week. All the crops have been got in. Berries have matured to almost fruition. And there you can see a jet taking off from Luton in the far distance there. Golf course down here on my left. Now the sun's behind a cloud, it's actually quite chilly. Still, as you can see yonder, the sun is nearly hidden at the minute, so hopefully it'll be back out shortly. Fairly devoid of bird song here at the moment as I descend Warden Hill. Lovely to see. Hawthorn berries are in full bloom now. Good crop this year by the looks of it. Galley and Warden Hills, part of the chalk arc. Don't go through that gate, mind. The control tower over at Luton Airport. Just see some of the terminal buildings as well. We're following the Icknield Way walkers route and the Chiltern Way bridle way. Interesting. Didn't realise this was a bridle way. There you've got the wind farm at Biggleswade again, in the very far distance. Very peaceful up here at the moment. Wonderful. As I say, you'll know is very close to an international airport really. wonderful woodland ahead of us. Would make some lovely colours in about 6 weeks' time or more. Approaching Hexton beyond this wood. That's the suggested early lunchtime stop, and probably where I'll be stopping seeing as I started late. It's about 6.5 miles into the walk, so not far short of halfway. Interesting blackberries on this bush. Got no idea what they are, but maybe somebody can tell us. Crossing the very quiet fairway. Now reach the information board about the Icknield Way, which you can research either on the walk notes or just Google it. But as is well known, it's one of the oldest routes in Britain, and effectively runs from Wiltshire to Norfolk through interconnecting pathways. And I'm very happy to say that I live right next door to it, as you saw in the last video that I did. Isn't that ironic? Very appropriate, I think. As I'm continuing with the main walk, I'm taking a right and walking on into Hexton. Always intrigues me this, out in the middle of nowhere. You get bricks buried in the footpath. I mean, where have they come from? Clearly there were houses out here at one point, I suppose, and this is how they've demolished or deposited the houses. Don't know. Four-way footpath marker. Turn left here between these two. Well, one tree trunk that's been cut in half by the looks of it. Still no sun, unfortunately. Plenty of pylons though. One slight issue with this part of the country. Now following a very pleasant grassy path. As good as anybody's front garden, this. You smell these blackberries, even though they're not ripe yet. Accompanied by old man's beard, is it? Or will be. As I say, plenty of foraging to be had. Grove Farm, which used to be owned by a friend of my sister's. I think they left and went to America. Shores, I think it was the Shores. Isn't that amazing? All these years on, I'm walking past it. Class Lexion just finished its season's work. What a wonderful beach that is. Look at the tractor tyres at the front, or the Caterpillar tyres. Yeah, it can be quite a little busy stretch of road that after Grove Farm, albeit that the distance is short. There's enough of a hazard. Yeah, it's from that tree line there. That's all, that distance. A couple of 100 yards, if that. Anyway, sun's crept out again. Temperature's gone up as a result. This farmer's done his hedge clipping already, which is ridiculous. Because as we all know, there's plenty of like these haws, rose hips, all these berries that he's potentially nipped off and destroyed. And I don't know why he's done it so early in the season. Don't normally do it in the autumn. Now walking past this border of corn, which is why all these hen pheasants are about. think that's what they are, as opposed to guinea fowl. Might be guinea fowl. A very pleasant descent down into Hexton. Plenty of grey squirrels about this area. Get the old pine martins back in gear and they'll soon disappear. Good to see the pine martins are recovering up north. Hopefully they'll work their way back down here and get rid of these greys, because where the pine martins are, that encourages the reds, funny enough. It's emerging from the woodland with its pheasants, as you can hear. There's St Faith's in Hexton, where I was hoping to have my lunch. I can tell you now that after rain or any kind of wetness, this footpath is extremely slippery. I know from experience these vibram soles are hopeless on chalk. Second kite of the day. Wonderful. It's funny, I don't see kites getting mobbed by crows in the same way that buzzards do. Probably because the kite is more agile and the crows can't outfox it. That's my opinion anyway. Very simple looking St Faith's, Hexton. Hexton's pretty much an estate village though, I'm not sure of the ownership. But what I do know is it's a very attractive place to live and very hard to get into. Very seldom do you see a property on the open market here. There isn't actually a tower here at all. Interesting. Not sure what's going on around the back here. It's either collapsed over time, never been rebuilt. Isn't that amazing? Just as well I come round the back here. I only came round the back here because there's no seats around the front. But the one that is there is next to the road. I plan to use that little bench over there next to the children's area. Okay, 4:15, lunch has been had. And the church is locked, so can't give you any internal shots. I'm joined by a wonderful robin now. Lovely. Gatehouse of Hexton Manor and its impressively high wall. I think it's now used for sort of business events and wedding functions more than anything else. I could smell something that absolutely reeks. The old water pump's still there. There's the village hall cum country matters and lavender tea room there. The opening hours for you. Looks like if I'd have done the walk tomorrow I would have seen the fate. Anyway, the weather's not forecast to be too great tomorrow, unfortunately for the fate. There's the lovely pub that is the Raven. I've had one meal in there previously and very good it is. Nice garden outside, as you can hear. The Ravens of Ravensborough, or Berg. Interesting. Here we go, footpath 005, headed towards Barton-le-clay. I've done some of this walk previously myself, prior to doing this particular walk. Sharp and Hoe in the distance there on my left. where we walked the other week, but you haven't yet viewed because my software's messing up. So firstly I had the issue with the Handycam, and over the last month or so I've had a problem with the software, so I can't upload any videos. I'm working on that one. It may mean a new laptop though, unfortunately. On the Bunyan Trail as we cross over this little brook. I believe that hill fort is Ravensbourne, which would explain the pub name, the Raven of Ravensbourne. So you've got that hill fort there, then just along the horizon on the right, out of view at the moment, Sharpenhoe. There in the very distance, St Mary's at Shillington, where I was the other day. Lovely rolling hills on my left. Right round to Sharpenhoe. The omnipresent Pullock's Hill water tower. Quite a feature of the last few weeks. Well, it's the first one of those I've seen. Seen George, Victoria, but never one of these. Elizabeth II. St Nicholas's, barton-le-clay. Lovely bit of flint work there on the front. It is open 2 to 5 today, but I'm not going in because all these cars tell me it'll be busy, i.e. no filming. So here we are, Barton Hills. So here we go. Yeah, bit of a steep incline to start with. Looking down on Barton. And that rather noisy plough. Clappers in the background. And the rest of the nature reserve here. Lovely. And then familiar territory over there, Pullock's Hill water tower. Green Sand Ridge and beyond. Views over towards the north and east, i.e. towards Meppershire water tower over there, Biggles Way beyond, and ultimately Hitchin beyond these tree line. Pretty impressive views now, albeit the sun's hidden behind a cloud unfortunately. Shame. Over there on the left is Hexton Hills, which are actually higher than these. As I said earlier, I think it's 185 metres, Telegraph Hill. Further views down the valley. Wonderful. Well, there you go. Some people down there have got their own little camp going on. Such a shame the sun's hidden as I'm up here. It's shining everywhere else to the east of here, but not here. It's Some amazing glaciation going on here. Not sure what these are. Not drumlins, are they? Can't remember. Bad news that. Great view. So here we have at least one of the 6 sources of eau de Barton. So there you go. Nice fresh water. Spring, not mineral, so quality is debatable. So as you can read there, the site supports a number of rare plants, including fleawort and greater pignut, and one of the largest surviving populations of the pasque flower, which is long since finished. And there you go, before you know what's going on, those little springs are suddenly producing this river. Back at the hills. Okay, we're at the Bull, the recommended late lunchtime stop. Certainly would be late as well. It's about 5 o'clock now. Right, that was some procedure getting across the A6. Highly dicey, that is. Just be warned, they're coming down there at a terrific speed. Anyway, this pond is fed by the Barton Springs apparently. So, doing its work. Now walking through a completely different type of terrain to the hills earlier this morning. Filled full of thistles. Goldfinch's paradise, I'd have thought. Can't hear any though. Charming. Decapitated, well, don't know. Vole, mouse on top of this fence post. With a wasp tucking into its head, or what was left of it. Yeah. Seen more than our usual number of deaths today. Anyway, press on. Sharpen hoe beneath a anonymously grey sky. Yeah, very ominous. But then the sun's tucked away behind it, so fingers crossed. Another farmer, a good distance from the one near Hexton, that's cut his hedges as well. Don't understand this practice. What's wildlife meant to eat? Looks like the official footpath through the hedges is far too overgrown. I took the left side as recommended. I should imagine only the electrical engineers use it now. They got some job getting through there though. Obviously since the author wrote the text, things have moved on. There's the old pillbox. It's a yellow marker on a pole, as mentioned in the text. It's the onward journey. I think what the plan is they want you to take the wider paths that the text suggests you don't take. But let's get down here and see. Right, there's the onward journey, which is being ploughed right as I speak. So that's pretty handy, isn't it? Thank you, farmer. So that will need reinstating. Nice backdrop beyond that track today. Another one of Branson's balloons up there in the sky. Barton Hills, etc. A section of walking we did the other week on the must have been the Harlington circular, I can't remember. Anyway, we're just going to do a right here over the footbridge. Well, there we are ahead of us, Harlington, with what looks like a field still being cut. It's possible, I suppose, a late straggler. About 6 o'clock now, so I'm on track for the ETA I suggested. 12 miles down now. Derelict farmhouse mentioned in the text. I think this is the same place where there's a disused tractor outside the entrance. Yeah, that's another dodgy road to cross just there. There is no finger post that I can see, but if you look for Mill End sign there, look for that and then just cross into the hedge. That's your onward journey. Sharpen hoe clappers in the setting sun. Ignore this gap apparently, the one that leads you straight into the stream, although I dare say we'll be passing it again in a minute. Or that bridge on the right, because our onward journey is straight ahead, walking along another field boundary. That's the Barton Hills over there, which again we walked the other week on the Harlington circular. Lovely shot of the setting sun on the sharpen hoe. Coming round towards the Barton Hills. Oh, wonderful evening. Tail end of summer now, unfortunately. In fact, I even heard the weather forecaster say that the meteorologically it is now autumn. Certainly not in my book, it's not. Got another 20 odd days to go. That line of houses there as you go into Harlington, certainly got a good vista. Church over there hidden behind the trees, I believe. I always find that interesting, why an oak gets left in the middle of a field. Noticed that on several occasions. And then they often get struck by lightning. Just about to go through the hole in the hedge to get to St Mary the Virgin Church before I take one last view. An excellent one it is as well. Crossing the village green towards the church. Setting sun against me. Well, there you go. Not often that happens. 7 o'clock on the button. Pretty much my ETA. Wonderful. I see there's a blue plaque on that church over there. I'm going to go and have a nose. See why that's there. Anyway, I was about to say there's an information panel here about Harlington Village. It's quite interesting. I notice there's not so many swallows buzzing around at the moment. Swifts have definitely gone. House martins, well, a few of those about, but Seems like a lot of them have already left, which is well early. Usually mid-October I'm still seeing them. Well, there's an interesting fact. Wasn't it at Liverpool? Amazing. Carpenter's Arms there for those that want a late drink just prior to getting on board the train. Nice village, Harlington. So very lucky to have a railway station. Could be down in Brighton in an hour and a half. Well, there's another blue plaque here. Just in Station Road, easy missed. Building there. So 5 hours, 14.25 miles later, here we are back at Harlington after a very pleasant walk. Didn't rush that, enjoyed it. Weather held out, lots of variety. So that just leaves 2 more walks to do locally, the Hitchin Circular and the one up at Marston Vale, and then that's up to date with the free walks in this area. Then I'll be venturing further afield. So yeah, very pleasant day's walking. Let's get back and get some grub. Till the next time. Don't know when this will be uploaded, by the way. As I said during the commentary on this one, having problems with the software at the minute, so already I'm 6 weeks in arrears, which is bad news. The handycam was easy fixed, but the software issue, because Panasonic use AVC HD, is causing me some issues. It might mean getting a new laptop, as I said. Anyway, we'll see. I need to get these videos uploaded. I've got 7 now to get done.